They said only America could dominate the skies. That air superiority was a game only the US Air Force could win. But quietly, almost invisibly, another jet began rewriting that rulebook. Not American, not stealthy, not even expensive. And yet, it's beating the US Air Force at its own game. In a world obsessed with billion-dollar fighters and stealth coatings that can bankrupt a country, one machine dared to be different. While the F-35 program wrestled with cost overruns, maintenance delays, and endless patches of software updates, a small Scandinavian jet simply worked. It didn't need to hide to survive. It outthought. It outmaneuvered. And it outperformed, not by brute force, but by brainpower. That jet is Sweden's Saab Gripen E. Now, before you roll your eyes, yes, we're talking about a single-engine fighter from a neutral country. A jet built not by a superpower, but by a nation of barely 10 million people. Yet somehow, it's the aircraft every pilot loves to fly, and every general underestimates, until they face it, because the Gripen doesn't try to be an F-35. Let's rewind. For decades, America's air dominance came from sheer scale. F-15s, F-16s, F-22s, and now F-35s. A fleet so massive and advanced that no one dared to compete. But times changed. Wars got smaller, faster, and more unpredictable. Suddenly, nations didn't want a flying iPhone that needs a tech team every time it lands. They wanted a fighter that could launch from a dirt road, refuel in minutes, and get back into the fight before the enemy even knew what hit them. That's exactly what Sweden built. When Saab introduced the Gripen E, critics laughed. No stealth, no twin engine, no chance. The US Air Force called it fourth gen at best. Analysts said it would never survive in a fight against an F-35. But here's the thing, it didn't need to. Because in war games across Europe, Gripen pilots didn't play by America's rules. They broke them. They used electronic warfare to blind radar networks. They jammed enemy systems that cost 10 times more. And before stealth jets could even lock on, the Gripen's sensors had already painted the sky with data. That's the irony. The jet everyone mocked for not being stealthy was the one seeing first. In one NATO exercise, the results were so unexpected that senior officers reportedly called it a wake-up call. Gripens flying out of Sweden simulated attacks on heavily defended targets and lived to tell the tale. They used the terrain, their agility, and their Arexis electronic warfare suite, one of the most advanced in the world. And when the simulated dogfights began, they danced circles around opponents with twice the cost and half the uptime. No billion-dollar logistics train, no fragile stealth coding, just smart tactics, rapid data links, and a jet designed to fight like a fox, not a bear. So what makes it so effective? It's not speed. The F-35 is faster. It's not weapons. The F-15 carries more. It's philosophy. The Gripen E was designed to do everything differently. Where the F-35 needs sprawling bases, the Gripen can land on a two-lane highway. Where US jets require teams of contractors and parts flown in from 3 continents, the Gripen needs just 5 conscripts and a fuel truck. That's not a gimmick. It's doctrine. Sweden built it that way because they had to. During the Cold War, they expected their air bases to be destroyed within hours, so they built fighters that could scatter across the countryside and keep flying independently. That mindset hasn't changed. And today, it's exactly what modern warfare demands. When you strip away the politics, the Gripen's success exposes a quiet truth. The world's most expensive jet isn't always the most effective. Ask any pilot who's flown it. They'll tell you the Gripen feels like an extension of their mind. Intuitive, fast, and razor-sharp. Its software architecture, the brain of the jet, can be updated in hours, not years. And that makes it one of the few fighters truly future-proof. Meanwhile, the F-35, despite its power, often feels like flying a computer that's still downloading an update mid-flight. This quiet efficiency hasn't gone unnoticed. From Canada to Finland, from Brazil to the Czech Republic, countries started asking the same question. Do we really need a $100 million fighter to stay safe? Brazil said no, and went with the Gripen E. Finland tested it and admitted its performance shocked their analysts. Even in Canada, where the F-35 eventually won the contract, many pilots whispered that the Swedish jet might have been the smarter pick. Because in the Arctic, where runways freeze, budgets stretch, and reliability mean survival, the Gripen's simplicity is a feature, not a flaw. And that's the part that's quietly unsettling for the US Air Force. They built an empire around complexity. Stealth, networking, sensors that require entire ecosystems to operate. But Sweden built something agile, modular, disruptive. The US Air Force plays chess with queens and rooks. Sweden just showed up with pawns that can outthink the board. That's what scares people. Because if a small, affordable, easy-to-maintain fighter can outperform giants in real missions, then the entire logic of air power starts to change. We're entering a new age of air warfare, one not defined by who has the shiniest jet, but who adapts fastest. And in that game, the Gripen E is already ahead. It's proving that brains beat budgets, that software agility can defeat stealth, and that independence, not alliances, defines survival in the modern sky. While the US Air Force debates upgrades for Block 5, 6, and 7, Saab is already testing what comes next. AI-assisted flight, faster electronic warfare, and multi-domain coordination that would make even an F-35 sweat. Maybe that's the quiet lesson here, that the future doesn't belong to whoever spends the most, but whoever thinks the smartest. Because while the world stares at the F-35, dazzled by its price tag and power, the Gripen E is out there, flying low, fast, and invisible in a different way. Invisible not to radar, but to ego. And maybe that's the ultimate irony. The US Air Force built the most advanced aircraft in history, but it's the small Swedish jet that's quietly beating them at their own game. Because in the end, the smartest predator isn't always the biggest one. It's the one that knows exactly when to strike and when to disappear. In a sky full of giants, it's the smallest mind, not the loudest engine, that wins the war.